The music industry, like any other entertainment sector, doesn't lack drama, and sometimes it's like a game of is it similar or the same? Today, we're diving into a big debate involving two famous singers, Ed Sheeran and Marvin Gaye. Did Ed Sheeran borrow a piece of Marvin Gaye's famous song, Let's Get It On, for his own hit, Thinking Out Loud? It's kind of like a puzzle, and we're going to solve it together. So let's get started. But before we do, let me just say this doesn't represent legal advice at all. If you need that, you should definitely not go on YouTube and go find an actual lawyer, of which we're not. Ed Sheeran finds himself at the center of a legal storm, accused of copying the musical ingredients, or you might say the building blocks, of Marvin Gaye's famous song, Let's Get It On. Importantly, it's not about the lyrics or the overall vibe of the song. The focus is on the musical elements. These building blocks are so vital that they've been documented on sheet music, which is officially filed with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. It is brought forth by the heirs of Ed Townsend, the co-writer and composer of Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. Their claim was straightforward but immensely impactful. They contended that Ed Sheeran had unlawfully employed the heart of Marvin Gaye's iconic song. When they mentioned the heart, they were referring to the song's fundamental elements, the harmonic progressions, and the melodic and rhythmic elements. Their position was strong. They asserted that this undeniable musical similarity had been noticed by professionals in the music industry and discussed in various articles and on social media. The lawsuit was filed on July the 11th, 2017, marking the start of a legal battle that would be closely watched by the entire music community. Ed Townsend's family has been quite outspoken about the case, and their sentiments go beyond legal matters. Catherine Townsend Griffin, Ed Townsend's daughter, voiced her feelings recently in an interview with CBS News, expressing a strong desire for the situation to come to an end. She remarked, "This must stop." Her statement reflects not only her personal attachment to her father's work, but also her exasperation with the ongoing disputes in a world already fraught with challenges. The article also featured the insights of Ben Crump, a highly respected civil rights attorney representing Ed Townsend's family. In his assessment, Thinking Out Loud isn't just a legal matter. It exemplifies a broader history of what he calls the appropriation of black artists' work. According to Crump, black artists have played a significant role in creating, inspiring, and spreading music worldwide for a long time. He believes that cases like Ed Sheeran's alleged infringement on black artists' work are part of a larger pattern where artists exploit the talent and creations of black singers and songwriters. The juicy part here is that it's not Sheeran's first brush with copyright infringement allegations. This case is just one in a series of legal challenges he's faced. In the same courthouse, Sheeran is confronted with two other lawsuits related to this very song. These lawsuits were filed by a company, Structured Asset Sales, which holds an 11.11% stake in Let's Get It On. They purchased this stake from one of Ed Townsend's sons, further intensifying the legal scrutiny around the song. In a past case from 2016, Sheeran faced a lawsuit from the songwriters behind Amazing, a track performed by Matt Cardle. They alleged that Sheeran had borrowed elements from their song for his own photograph. The legal dispute eventually led to a settlement in 2017, with the Amazing writers being credited for their contribution to Photograph. Another legal battle involved the artist Sammy Chakri, also known as Sammy Switch. Chakri accused Sheeran of copying his 2015 song Oh Why in Sheeran's 2017 hit Shape of You. This case reached a verdict in the UK, where the court ruled in Sheeran's favor, finding that he had not copied Chakri's tune either deliberately or subconsciously. The court noted similarities in a one-bar phrase, but deemed these commonalities as only a starting point for potential copyright infringement. Following this legal ordeal, Ed Sheeran expressed his contentment with the result but voiced concerns about the prevalence of such lawsuits. He believes that this culture of claims and settlements, often driven by the idea that it's cheaper than going to court, is damaging to the songwriting industry. He argued that in the world of pop music, with a limited number of notes and chords, coincidences are bound to occur, especially when thousands of songs are released daily on platforms like Spotify. Sheeran's experience has led him to view these legal challenges as a significant challenge to the music creative process. He personally appeared in court to defend himself against the copyright infringement accusations. During his testimony, he made several compelling arguments to support his case. Sheeran's defense revolved around the idea that many pop songs share similar chord progressions and musical patterns. He emphasized that most pop songs can fit over most pop songs. To illustrate his point, he mentioned iconic tracks like Let It Be by the Beatles and No Woman No Cry by Bob Marley, highlighting how they could overlap with other popular songs. Sheeran expressed his view by stating that it would be foolish for him to intentionally copy another song and perform it in front of a massive audience. The New York Times reported that Sheeran took a hands-on approach during his testimony. He brought in his guitar and played the four-chord progression from Thinking Out Loud. He argued that his second chord differed from the one in Let's Get It On and was a major chord that he played at every single concert. However, Alexander Stewart, a musicologist representing the plaintiffs, contended that Sheeran's second chord resembled the minor chord in the same position in the Let's Get It On progression. Sheeran demonstrated both versions on his guitar, and observers noted a slight grimace as he played the minor chord suggested by Stewart. When the trial resumed after the weekend, Sheeran returned to the stand with his guitar. His testimony turned into a performance as he presented various mashups, including one that combined Thinking Out Loud with a song by Van Morrison. Sheeran claimed that Van Morrison was a primary inspiration for his song, and his producers even referred to Thinking Out Loud as the Van Morrison tune, because of the similarities in their voices. Reportedly, jurors found the performance amusing. Under questioning by his defense attorney, Eileen Farkas, Sheeran expressed his deep frustration at being accused of stealing a song, describing it as really insulting. When asked about the potential precedent that the lawsuit might set for songwriting, he responded with a tone of finality, saying, "I'm done." Sheeran's testimony in court provided a window into his perspective on the case and his strong stance on the matter. Ed Sheeran, through his legal team, consistently maintained that the structural similarities between his song Thinking Out Loud and Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On were a consequence of shared, commonly used elements in pop music. According to his lawyers, both songs incorporate a chord progression that is not protected by copyright, emphasizing that this chord progression is readily available to all songwriters. They argued that these similarities were part of the standard musical vocabulary of the pop genre. In a highly anticipated verdict, a jury in New York concluded on May 4, 2023, that Ed Sheeran did not steal essential elements from Marvin Gaye's classic 1970s hit, Let's Get It On, when he crafted his own chart-topping song, Thinking Out Loud. This verdict marked the culmination of a 2-week-long trial that had captured the attention of the music world and beyond. Throughout the trial, Ed Sheeran made a passionate stand, even at times displaying frustration, as he vigorously defended his originality and the authenticity of his creative process. He viewed the trial as a potential threat not just to himself, but to all musicians who engage in the process of crafting their own music. The judge overseeing the case and his instructions to the jury emphasized that independent creation is a complete defense, no matter how similar that song is. This principle played a pivotal role in shaping the verdict. Following the jury's decision, Ed Sheeran expressed his gratitude, acknowledging the significance of the ruling in protecting the creative process of songwriters, not only in the United States, but around the world. He shared his feelings outside the courthouse, thanking the jury for a decision that he believed would have a far-reaching impact on the artistic community. In his statement, Sheeran, together with his co-writer Amy Wadge, conveyed their dedication to independently creating songs, often drawing from their own real-life experiences. The accusation of a song theft was described as devastating, particularly in light of the immense effort they had invested in their musical careers. He emphasized his identity as a simple artist with a guitar, driven by the love of crafting music for people to enjoy. He also made it clear that he would not allow himself to be treated as a financial resource to be exploited by others. The verdict marked a significant milestone in Ed Sheeran's career and raised important questions about the protection of creativity in the music industry. Not long after the verdict, another lawsuit against Sheeran alleging similarities between the two songs was dismissed by a Manhattan district judge. This lawsuit was brought by Structured Asset Sales, which owns a portion of the original copyright for Let's Get It On. The judge's decision was grounded in the belief that the chord progression that Sheeran was alleged to have copied was not distinctive enough to warrant copyright protection. However, it's essential to note that this specific case focused on the sheet music of Let's Get It On, and Structured Asset Sales still maintains a separate lawsuit regarding the song's recording. But the legal battles over Marvin Gaye's music have not been limited to the case involving Ed Sheeran. In a notable instance, a jury ruled in 2015 that the song Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams infringed upon the copyright of Marvin Gaye's Got to Give It Up. As a result, they awarded over $5 million in damages to Gaye's family. This case underscored the complexities and controversies surrounding copyright infringement in the music industry and served as a precedent for future legal disputes involving iconic songs and their alleged similarities to other compositions.